Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast on YouTube. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe and you must go for you. Now, Eddie Howe has just held his press conference ahead of Newcastle United versus AC Milan, a big game on Wednesday evening. Newcastle need to win if they're going to continue into the knockout stages of the Champions League. Of course, a win isn't enough to guarantee them a place in the next round. They are reliant on PSG not picking up a win at Dortmund over in Germany. But the big news to come out of the press conference is that another injury has hit Newcastle United. Can you believe it? Their luck with injuries has actually gotten worse. What a horrible time they've had of it recently when it comes to injuries. And Eddie Howe, after that defeat to Spurs on Sunday, actually said, not that one needed reminding, that Newcastle United couldn't afford any more injuries and that he was hopeful of having some back in the next couple of weeks. Well, it appears their bad luck just continues to run and run and run. Of course, Nick Pope, injured, dislocated his shoulder against Manchester United, out for 4 to 5 months, something like that. Martin Dubravka, the replacement, steps up. He concedes goals against Everton, then against Spurs, concedes a boatload of goals. He's probably thinking, at least I'm going to get me Champions League appearance here. And it appears that he has an injury, either a shoulder injury or a back injury. There's different reports going around. Now, Eddie Howe was asked about it at the press conference, and he didn't say much about it. He said the fitness of Martin Dubravka is unclear. Now, you read into that what you will. You know, Eddie Howe doesn't usually give things away when it comes to the fitness of his players. He likes to keep things close to his chest, so it's no surprise he didn't come out and just say, yeah, Martin Dubravka is not playing. You know, that's not what Eddie Howe does. But certainly in today's training session, Karius was the only senior goalkeeper to be training who can play on Wednesday evening, because Mark Gillespie isn't registered. He's not in the squad. So it'd have to be a youngster to come in on the bench if indeed Dubravka was injured and Karius steps up. And that is, I mean, the bad luck for Newcastle United. It's unbelievable. You couldn't make it up. And I know after the last two performances, there's been a lot of talk about what Newcastle potentially do in January to replace Nick Pope while he recovers from this injury, because Martin Dubravka, we have to be honest, didn't have a great game against Tottenham, you would say, at fault for two of the goals, the penalty and Richarlison's second, where he got caught in no man's land. But look, he's coming in out of the cold. He's probably going to take a few games to get up to scratch, and I backed him to perform certainly better than he has been. But you know, in a couple of weeks' time, we could be having a totally different conversation about the future of Martin Dubravka and what Newcastle do in the January transfer window. It's unbelievable. He probably thought that he was going to appear in the Champions League, you know, the Europe's biggest competition. He would have been looking forward to that. And then to pick up an injury, for Newcastle to pick up another injury on the 12-13 they've got, my mind's absolutely blown. I mean, you could not make it up. The bad luck that they are suffering is unbelievable. But what an opportunity for Karius if indeed he is needed to start against AC Milan. I mean, for some, this is the biggest game for Newcastle United in recent history, the chance to go through to the knockout stages of the Champions League, and it is very much in their hands. They're going to need a little bit of help from Dortmund, but look, Newcastle United just need to concentrate on what they can affect, and that is they need to win against AC Milan. They win against AC Milan, at least they'll get into the Europa League. But hey, Dortmund beat PSG and you could be celebrating the knockout stages. That's where Eddie Howe's focus will be, on what Newcastle United can do. And if Karius is going to have to be the man between the sticks, then so be it. Eddie Howe can't do anything about that now. Will they try and rush Dubravka back? Who knows? Maybe, you know, given what's happened over the last week, the goals conceded against Everton and Spurs, taking Martin Dubravka out of the team with the context of it being an injury isn't the worst thing. Because if you take him out of the team and he's not injured, and it's just on the back of the last two performances, then that is a massive blow to his confidence. But if he's injured, then maybe it gives Eddie Howe a little bit more of an excuse to replace him and say, go on, Karius, here's your opportunity. But wow, I mean, Karius at Newcastle United, one and only competitive appearance, cup final against Manchester United. Couldn't do anything about the two goals conceded in that. Very unfortunate. One was a wicked deflection, wasn't it? Didn't have too much to do otherwise. He is a really good professional. He's a really good trainer. You know, Newcastle United made a big effort to keep him for this season. He only had a contract until the end of last season. It was made quite clear that he fancied a return back to Italy, but Newcastle persuaded him to stay. He's great around the squad. He clearly puts in effort on the training ground. And look, if he's needed to be called upon, he will do his very best, of course, coming out of the cold. like that is a little bit difficult. I've just spoken there about what Martin Dubravka is having to do. It's a little bit worse, a little bit more daunting probably for Karius, because, like I say, one competitive game, not just Newcastle, but one competitive game in so long. It's years, isn't it? If you take away that cup final against Manchester United, since he's actually had a competitive game, so he's probably going to be rusty. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? If Martin Dubravka's injured, what can Eddie Howe do? But a big opportunity for Loris Karius on the biggest stage, on what is a big night for Newcastle United. The other injury concerns, Anthony Gordon, Sean Longstaff. Again, Eddie Howe was non-committal on the fitness of those players, but you will hope with all you can that Anthony Gordon is fit, because he's been Newcastle's in-form player. The 2 games recently aside, but we need him back to his best against Milan. And Sean Longstaff, to have him back, even if it's just on the bench, is a boost. But you would think if he's fit, he will start in the middle. Lewis Miley potentially dropping out, but we'll have to wait and see. Until we'll have to wait and see the team news, essentially, because Eddie Howe, like I say, was not giving anything away as he usually doesn't. But what a huge night. Let me know in the comments what you think about Newcastle's bad luck with injuries. Are you backing Karius to step up? And if this is only his second appearance at Newcastle and his final appearance at Newcastle, what a way to go out. Can he help Newcastle get to the next stage of the cup final? But indeed, I say that, if Martin Dubravka is injured, Karius could end up starting the next game against Fulham and so on. He could end up with 4 or 5 appearances to his name. And who would have seen that coming at the start of the season? Probably not him, definitely not me. But let me know in the comments what you think about Newcastle's goalkeeping situation, what you think about the injury situation. And look, let me know your score predictions. Can Newcastle United beat AC Milan and get through to the next stage of the Champions League? Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, give it a share, and we'll see you guys very soon.